Hello, this is Tom, aka Geron here for Tabletop Tap Room. Today's video is Coffee, the Good Life, and defamation lawsuits. And I spent the morning reading a filing by a lawyer in a defamation lawsuit. And when I got done, I said, man, that was better than a cup of coffee. And then I went and got a cup of coffee. It doesn't get any better than that. Reading the letter was as good as a cup of coffee. Then I had a cup of coffee. I'm living the good life and I'm enjoying it, having a good time. So I thought I would do a video about coffee, the good life, and defamation lawsuits because this was hysterical and it brings up a few things for us to consider. So I want to say thanks for watching the video. Thanks to my subscribers. You guys are great. And by the way, hey, I have a new sponsor. So my new sponsor is Wizard Tower Games, and I will be advertising for a couple of weeks the Lost Adventures of Gary Khan, and this is written by Tim Cast. Now, I do not have the ad copy to do my little blurb. I am totally capable of writing ad copy. I have written ad copy in the past, but I had a suspicion that Don wanted to kind of do that himself, and I don't have the video spot yet. That is that's being produced today and should be gotten to me today. But you know, I says I don't care. I want to talk about this product now, even though I'm not getting paid to talk about it right now. I will be getting paid to talk about it on the next video. But this is done by Tim Cast. Now, I've been having conversations with Tim Cast about his Dark Colony sci-fi adventure module. It's system agnostic. It's serial numbers filed off. It's system agnostic. Use whatever. Traveler, Star Frontiers, Frontier Space, whatever you want to use, you can use that system with it. It's very, very well written, and it's very easy to just use whatever system you want to use it with. And when I first bought it and read it, I said, man, this is like a master class in how you do this. It's a master class in module writing. So I've been having conversations with Tim about that. And then I heard this about the Lost Adventures of Gary Khan 1 and 2. This is not a Kickstarter. This is being produced by Wizard Tower Games, and it should be up for sale November, December, sometime soon. It's being edited now. And apparently Tim found these lost modules that he wrote as convention modules for Gary Khan 1 and 2. And him and Don Samora of Wizard Tower Games, they have teamed up and they're putting together this hardcover book. It's going to be $90. Although there's a code you can put in to save on shipping. And when I heard about it, I went, me, sign me up, me. Put my name down. I want to be first in line. So I believe you're going to have optical scans of the original. You're going to have freshly edited, laid out, dressed up, cleaned up section. So, I mean, you're getting quite a bit in this. And I believe they're going to be autographed. Some of them, at least, are going to be autographed by Tim Cast. So right away, I was like, because I had been thinking, I need to mail Tim. I need to ask Tim if I can mail him my copy of Dark Colony with a mailer for him to mail it back to me if he just sign it so I could have a sign, because I really love that module. So, yeah, I'm really excited over this, and I can't wait for this. And you need to be watching for this. This is something you need to be watching for. When it goes on sale, it's going to be limited numbers. And probably the best way for you to find out that this is now suddenly on sale is I'm probably going to do an announcement of some sort, either on a video about something else, or maybe I'll just do a little video announcement. So you want to make sure you have hit that like, subscribe, and bell icon. Hit the bell icon so you get notifications that I've done something, and then you'll get that announcement, because limited numbers. It's 200 or 300. I forget what Don said to me. So limited numbers, and I think they're going to go fast, and you want to jump on this. So yes, hit that like, subscribe, bell icon, and we will move right along to the meat of the show. I was having my coffee, and what coffee do I drink? I thought I was just do a little shout out to Palau. I don't know if that's how you pronounce the name. This is a Brazilian coffee. I don't know if that's how you pronounce the name. That's how I pronounce it, Palau. It is some of the strongest coffee in the world. It's kind of brute force, punch you in the nose kind of coffee. And the good wife does not like it. So, I have to go out and buy her some light roast, butter caramel from Shaw's. This is Signature Select from Shaw's. This is brute force. This will punch you in the face, wake you up. Really strong stuff. And in fact, right here on the label, it says O Café Forte do Brasil, which translates from Portuguese, a strong coffee from Brazil. And I found out about a year and a half ago that they have another product line. Same trade dress. It's a coffee, and it says Palau, but instead of red, it's black, and it says extra strength. Like they needed that. In fact, I was sending care packages to my brother in Iraq. He worked at a combat support hospital in the emergency room, and I would hook him up because I know he loves this coffee, so I would hook him up with a lot, and so much so that he had extra coffee. So he'd bring it into the emergency room and would leave a note on it. He was very responsible. He'd leave a note on it. Very strong, use less. And people would go and make coffee like they were an American, making American coffee with an American coffee ground. Scoop, scoop, scoop. And next thing you know, they've got, liquid zinger in the pot. And one of the doctors, a little sensitive coffee, I guess, had a couple cups because he can drink a couple cups of American coffee, but he didn't know this was something different. And he had a couple cups, and next thing you know, he was in tachycardia. They're like, Doc, sit down in the wheelchair. We'll start an IV. You instruct us what you want done. We'll be your hands, but you just sit in the wheelchair. We need you to sit down, because he was like this. And so Tim told me that story, and I sent him even more because this is really, really, really strong stuff. And I can't even buy it, man. I got to go to Boston to buy it from the import store. So, there are no Brazilian import stores that I've found here in Maine. I've not found it for sale. And I would love it if it was for sale for here. But, my eldest daughter actually will, Father's Day, my birthday, whatever, Christmas, she'll bring me, when she comes up to visit, she'll bring me a brick. And that's where this came from. This came from my daughter, Rachel. So, I was enjoying coffee this morning and loving it and thinking, man, I'm living the good life here, reporting on gaming. And I read that letter from the lawyers, and it was just so damn funny, and it was better than a cup of coffee. And yet I still had coffee. So I'm living the good life. Yes. And I thought, I'll do a video, coffee, the good life. And yeah. Apparently, I've had a little too much coffee. Talking a little fast, yes. But let's get to the meat of the video. Here we are with the letter filed by Eric Tenkar's lawyers. And I'm not going to read the whole letter, but trust me, it's good reading. Print it out, download it from Pacer, print it out, and take it to the bathroom with you. While you're sitting there, you can read through it. It's only 3 pages. You can read through it, and it's worth a laugh. So let's pick it up here with Dear Judge Scanlon. This office, identifying the office, represents the defendants and rights in response to the plaintiff's October 4 submission. Although it may sound unbelievable, I love that opening statement. Although it may sound unbelievable, it's unbelievable. We can't believe it ourselves. It's unbelievable. We have not actually received interrogatories or requests for production from the plaintiffs. They have failed to deliver their proper discovery request. Instead, we've received a list of crazy sounding, often impossible things the plaintiffs apparently want, which in several cases lack any nexus to this action. Let me translate that. has nothing to do with this court case. Has everything to do with something else, but nothing to do with this court case. Lacked any nexus to this action, or the rules governing discovery in this district. Plaintiff's demands are labeled initial interrogatories and demand for production, but never distinguish between or identify a single interrogatory or a request for production. So what's going on here? As part of discovery, I guess there are two things. One of them is an interrogatory, and one of them is a demand or a request for production. And apparently what I've gathered from this document, from reading it, because I don't speak lawyer speak, but I'm trying to educate myself. Apparently there are different rules for interrogatories, and there are different rules for demand for production. And depending on what it is, you use those rules, how you answer. And so they're saying, look, he's saying that these are both interrogatories and demand for production, and yet we tell him we don't understand, because some of them have elements of an interrogatory. Some of the questions have elements of an interrogatory, and some of them have demand for production. And we can't answer that because we don't know which rules to apply. And so repeatedly through this, they're like, we have told the plaintiffs, we have repeated to the plaintiffs, we have redundantly told the plaintiffs, we have ad nauseum told the plaintiffs. And so they keep using stronger words and hitting that idea of we have communicated over and over again. It has gotten, sickening. It has gotten stupid at this point. And so they keep hitting that horse, and they keep using stronger and stronger language for the judge to say, it's painful to we've explained in painful detail at one point. So they keep hitting that. Now, and then they defend themselves, saying, because apparently plaintiff's lawyer is saying they have refused discovery. They've refused to answer us. They've refused, and they're doing this, and they're raising objections, and the objections are meaningless, and their objections are just some trick they've saved to this point. And they're just trying to sabotage, waste the court's time. And that's what it appears when you read between the lines. Because I tried reading the plaintiff's letter filed, and I was like, I went cross-eyed. I'm like, I joked about, I just can't do this. Tap me out, stick a fork in me, I'm done. I can't do it. I couldn't get through the 3 pages. I couldn't get through it. But this was fun to read. This was amusing. Repeatedly, there's accusations made. And one of them is the plaintiff's letter is also replete with misrepresentations. And I can only partially address within the page limitation, within these page limitations. You see, the court they've put limitations. When you send one of these letters for a motion, 3 pages. That's it. Must be 3 pages. You're not going to waste the judge's time. He's not going to read 8-page run-on sentence. And that's what the plaintiff's lawyer did early in this process. He did one of those run-on. He violated the rules. The judge said, I only want 3 pages for this kind of a letter. The lawyer said, screw the judge. Screw his rules. I'll do what I want. I'm writing here. And so he wrote this run-on thing, and the judge went, excuse me, you need to rewrite this. I will give you 2 weeks to refile it, or whatever the time period was. He says, you're going to rewrite this and you're going to obey the rules. You're going to limit it to 3 pages. Do it right. Which had to have been embarrassing. But so they're letting, Eric's lawyers here are reminding the judge there's a page limit. And the other side doesn't like to follow the rules, because one of the things that they're going to allege here is they're not following the rules concerning litigants, concerning discovery, and concerning the court's own rules. And so they're hitting that, but they were also reminding him, hey, remember when you had to tell these buffoons, refile this and limit it to the 3 pages as per the rules. So they're trying to remind the judge of that with this, that there's a limit. The judge knows there's a limit. They're saying, we just repeat with misrepresentations, can only partially address these within the page limitations. They're reminding the judge of what the other side did. For example, we obviously did not refuse to answer 12 plus questions based on an inactionable opinion. Instead, we provided responses indicating that the basis upon which the defendant referred to the party as a jackass is inactionable opinion. See, you're allowed to have an opinion, and you're allowed to state your opinion. You say, I think so-and-so is a jackass. I think so-and-so is a dirtbag. That's what I think. You have free speech, and you're allowed to express your opinion. It's inactionable opinion. And so they're saying, look, I'm sorry, but that was an actionable opinion. We cannot respond to these 10 plus, 12 plus questions that you have asserted concerning this. We can't even respond to any of this because it's inactionable. We can't. It's, so they're making that statement here. Next up, we get this statement, and I love this. They actually say, but we did answer one question. Listen to this. We answered request number 24 as both an interrogatory and a request for production. They've mixed it again. As a courtesy, although plaintiffs have identified no authority that would require us to do so. But we answered it as, because you're mixing interrogatory and you're not allowed to do that. Plus on top of that, they did 35 of them and they're supposed to limit it to 25. And so they've just broken the rules all over the place. But they're saying, look, they're zinging him here and they're setting him up. And they says, answer number 24, already informed the plaintiffs of the obvious fact that we have not yet propounded claims against Lanassa that would be capable of admitting, hence premature, while contemporaneously directing the plaintiffs to a message about Lanassa, casually acknowledging his business partner as a Nazi lover. So they're kind of zinging him twice here. The one, they're restated, we kept directing him back to this message where Lanassa very casually, identified his business partner, Dave Johnson, as a Nazi lover. Okay. And apparently, reading between the lines here, they're saying, we've not countersued. So apparently there's some question in the previous filing by the plaintiff. Why haven't you countersued? Well, I looked into this months and months and months and months ago, and I was asking, and so it was explained to me, and I don't remember all the details, but it was explained to me, by not countersuing, they have set themselves up for success this way by not countersuing. They then it gave Eric's lawyers an advantage in a certain way, and I forget what the details of that were. But the person I was talking to, they were explaining that it was like by not countersuing and doing it this way, they actually gained this advantage in the New York court system. And so here, apparently, I could be wrong, but apparently lawyer Bernie for Justin has inquired, why haven't you countersued? And they're like, because it was to our advantage not to, because we didn't want to, because it helps us not to, which is, it's not what they say here, but it's kind of a big old screw you. So that was funny right there. And then, but that's the setup. So we did answer, not as a courtesy, even though we were not compelled to, but as a courtesy, we went ahead and answered one of these stupid jackass questions. Then they go down to the next paragraph here. It says, plaintiff claims that not a single one of the interrogatories or demands was answered. They just identified to the judge that they did answer the one as a courtesy. Not though they were compelled by law, not though there was any authority compelling them to do so. They just did it as a courtesy. It was a setup. It was a setup to screw him over. And so here he is. Not a single one has been answered. And they're like, it's also false and so disconnected from reality, we simply cannot refute it within the page limitations applicable to this submission, although defendants' answers continue to speak for themselves. So they've given their answers, and actually Bernie Kleinman, lawyer, Esquire Bernie Kleinman, has re-provided the answers given within his submission. So they're like, our answers speak for themselves. And they hit that. It's so foolish. We can't even answer this. We can't even show the falsehoods and the misrepresentations within the page limit of this document, of this letter. Reminding the judge again that the other side violated the rules when the judge said, these are the rules, 3 pages. You want to submit a letter like this for a motion, it must be 3 pages. And the other side said, screw the judge, screw his rules. We'll do what we want. And they're reminding him of that again. So what sorts of things are they asking for in their fusion, chameleon fusion of interrogatories and demands for production? They are asking for Eric's entire work record with the NYPD. What that has to do with the case, no idea. Well, I'll tell you why they're asking for it. They're asking for it because they're digging, looking for something. Maybe he was disciplined at some point. They're looking for some gotcha to have on him. They're looking for something to have on him to trot out. And but it has nothing to do with the case. Eric was retired. He was not even working for the NYPD when all of this came about. So it has nothing to do with the case. This is a fishing expedition. They ask, do you own a gun? Which is dumb. He's a retired police officer. I think it goes without saying he probably owns a gun. And he also, 99.9% likely, also owns it legally. So it was like, do you own a gun? Show us your permit. And again, nothing to do with the case. Okay, nothing to do with the case. Okay, and this is one of these 35. It's supposedly an interrogatory. Maybe it's a demand for production. It's all mixed up, confused, conflated. That they wasted a question on. You didn't need to waste a question on this. This is stupid. I mean, you just assume, yeah, he's a retired police officer. He probably owns a gun. He probably owns it legally. We're not going to waste it because they went 35 and they're only supposed to do 25. It's just dumb. What else? Oh, they are demanding to know who he has spoken to about the Yatzi case. We want to know everyone you've spoken to concerning the Yatzi court case, and we want to know what you said to them. So they want text messages, emails, phone logs, instant messages. They want everything. If you talk to them, we want to know. The Yatzi case has nothing to do with this case. Has nothing to do with this case. But, they're desperate for something in the Yatzi case because they're losing it badly. So they're, trying to get this. And it's not allowed. It's impermissible. Number one, because it's protected journalistically. Eric's a journalist reporting by vlogging. And so no. And no, because you're mixing a interrogatory with a demand for production. And it's a violation of the rules. We can't even answer it because it's not even proper. It's totally improper. So you have all of these things, and they, and they're throwing this lawyer under the bus by pointing out that he has made patently false statements in his thing that are patently not true. And and they've reviewed all these things and says, look, we can't even answer this. This is not even answerable. And they do this over and over again. But the piece de resistance in this particular letter is right here in this last paragraph. And it says, let me put my glasses on, make sure I read it correctly, but I don't want to read it incorrectly. The fact that Lanasa is a Nazi sympathizer and criminal continues to be supported by the uncontested record. Stop. Let's read that again. The fact that Justin Lanasa is a Nazi sympathizer and criminal continues to be supported by the uncontested record. Now, the salient point here to me is not that it's a fact that Justin is a Nazi sympathizer and a criminal. That is not it. That the record continues to remain uncontested. Why didn't, now, if you say something about me that's not true, I'm going to contest it. I'm going to come back at you on that. I'm going to contest it. That's the most natural thing in the world. You say something about somebody and they don't agree with it, they're going to contest it. It remains uncontested. Why didn't Justin and his lawyer, why didn't the plaintiff contest the fact that he's a Nazi sympathizer, which is well attested to, and that he is a criminal? Why did they not contest these and dispute these? I don't know. I don't know what's going on in their head. I mean, I can draw a conclusion. My conclusion would be that they're both true, that they can't contest it. And so they left it alone. Why did they ignore it? I don't know. I mean, the fact that Justin Lanasa is a Nazi sympathizer and criminal continues to be supported by the uncontested record. And now it's part of this public record that he is a Nazi sympathizer and a criminal, and he failed to contest that. He chose to not contest it. They chose to run around and play this game, futzing around over stupid questions, not following the rules, not doing the proper interrogatories, not doing the proper rules for discovery. And they've asked for irrelevant things that have nothing to do, have no nexus with this proceeding, that are totally irrelevant and have nothing to do with the case at hand. Are you a retired cop? We want your police record, all of it. I mean, they should have asked for his medical record too while they're at it. Why don't you ask for his medical record? What is your blood type? Why didn't they ask, do you have toe jam between your toes? I mean, they're asking for absolute irrelevancies. I mean, just go full Monty on it. You are not allowed to ask for irrelevant facts that have nothing to do with the case. You're not allowed to ask for an unlimited number of things. You're limited to 25. And you need to identify whether they're interrogatories or whether they are requests for production, because they're governed by different rules. And they have just, and they've played games. They've refused to meet with us. In fact, his lawyers repeatedly like, listen, we informed the plaintiff's lawyers. We asked them to sit down and meet with us. We asked them to sit down and have to work this out. Let's work this out. Let's get this thing settled. Let's work this out. Let's not waste the court's time. Let's get this. And they use language like we repeatedly, we redundantly, ad nauseum, with painful detail, we have explained. And so again, they come to the fact that Justin Lanasa is a, can I beat this dead horse again? The fact that Justin Lanasa is a Nazi sympathizer and criminal continues to be supported by the uncontested public record. It's uncontested. He has chosen to not contest it. We can only speculate why. We don't know why. We can only speculate why. My speculation is that it must be true. These things must be true. These things about him must be true. And now it's public record. It's now in the public record. Good job, Justin. In bringing in bringing this action, making formal allegations to the contrary, and wasting the court's time with this letter motion, Lanassa is doing everything in his power to make a mockery of this court and ruin the defendants' lives for merely commenting on his vile conduct in a permissible manner. Eric Tenkar is guilty of commenting on Justin Lanassa's vile conduct in a permissible legal manner. In view of the foregoing, the defendants would appreciate any steps the court can take to incentivize all parties, they include themselves, please incentivize all parties to comply with the rules governing litigants, discovery, and objectionably false representations to the district. Let's stop right there. They're saying, we want you to order all parties, order everybody, including ourselves, except we've already complied with all the rules. And they're reminding the judge that the other side has objectively false representations, made objectively false representations to the district. It's not even subjectively false representation. It's an objectively false representation, because they have clearly put everything in writing, and then they, and again, this guy then put in writing, they've not answered one. That's objectively false. They did answer one. They made a point of reminding the judge, we've answered one out of a courtesy, under no obligation to do so. Under no obligation, under no authority. There's no authority compelling us to answer this question, but we did as a courtesy. And then they point out to the judge that he's like, not one. It's objectively false. He's made a false representation to the court. This is not going to go well for him. And these lawyers are good enough to keep reminding the judge, hey, by the way, remember, this guy made an objectively false statement to the court. He shouldn't have done that. And that's not going to go well for him. It's not going to go well for Justin. So they're, again, reminding him that, again, people need to be reminded to obey the rules concerning litigants, to obey the rules concerning discovery, to not make objectively false statements to the court, because that's just wrong. You can't do that. So then the final statement, on its face, plaintiff's discovery document is improper. And we hope the court agrees that a response in a more granular detail is unnecessary. They're saying, look, objectively false statements, on its face, it's totally improper. And we hope the judge will agree that a more granular detail, a response in more granular detail is unnecessary. That is for them. They're saying, we want you to rule that we don't have to make any further discovery statements. That's what they're asking. They're saying, we haven't been able to. We have tried, but we haven't been able to do discovery. We have repeatedly asked, can you clarify? We want you to clarify. Is this an interrogator? Is it a demand for, the demand? And repeatedly, with ad nauseum, redundantly, with ad nauseum and painstaking detail, they have done this. And they're asking the judge to say, look, please rule that we're done with this. We're done with discovery and we can move on. Please, judge. And they're making a point to keep in that process, reminding the judge, by the way, the other side has made objectively false statements, because, that usually pisses judges off. So, not to beat any dead horses, but I just got to read that first statement again. The fact that Lanassa is a Nazi sympathizer and a criminal continues to be supported by the uncontested record. Why would he not contest it? Why would he not contest it? I can only make one supposition. Only one thing comes to my mind. My imagination is only good for one thing, and that's because it's true. As I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about, oh man, I'm living the good life this morning. I got thinking about this case, and Justin is not living the good life. His court cases are all going badly. The Yatzi case is going downhill, even though it's under a stay, but that stay may not stay in place. Although it was explained to me by somebody that Yatzi lawyers might want to let the bankruptcy play out, because then it actually ends up giving them more ammunition to use against him. And so they may not want the stay to remain in place, and they may want this to play out. The bankruptcy is going badly, because the trustee who oversees the bankruptcy has petitioned the court. He says, look, I suspect that there is some negligence or fraud in this particular case, so I would like the court to appoint lawyers to represent the estate for any claims that the estate might have against any parties, not specifying anybody, but any parties who have done fraud or negligence. Now, that's really interesting, because the judge said, yeah, there is reason to believe that there could be potentially. We don't know. Okay, it needs to be investigated. And so, yes, I will appoint this firm of 3 lawyers. And so that firm got appointed, and they're representing the estate of TSR that's in bankruptcy, because there's a party that's suspected, not proven, but suspected of fraud at the worst, or at best, neglect. So who might that be? Who might that be who's potentially has committed fraud or neglect, negligence? We have the famous post by Justin. There's only one employee at TSR, only one, and that's me, Justin Lanassa. And Ernie and Duck are not employees, even though they had those posts where they were listed as company officers. I mean, apparently you just make people who volunteer company officers and don't pay them, and they do all that work and don't expect to get paid. Okay, I don't believe any of that, but let's go with Justin's own statements. He says, nobody, no employees but me. So what parties at new TSR could have committed fraud or negligence? Who is it they are investigating for fraud and negligence right now in the bankruptcy case? I think that would be Justin Lanassa. Can't possibly be the volunteers, right? Not that I believe they were really volunteers, but we're going to accept Justin's statements on their face value. Duck and Ernie were just volunteers. So the only person who could have been committing fraud or negligence at TSR was the one and only employee, none other than Justin Lanassa. So this is really not going well. This bankruptcy case is just right turned into the 3%, that 3% group of bankruptcy cases where they start hiring forensic accountants because they don't believe the records supplied, and they're hiring lawyers to represent the estate so they can make a claim against individuals who are running the company. So it's not going well. And the Yatzi case not going well. And apparently this defamation case not going well. It's not going well. And so I'm thinking, Justin's not living his good life. He's not living the good life. He's not living his best life. And why? Normally you go into gaming because gaming gives you something. Something is intangible. This coffee cup here, this is very tangible. Okay, I can describe this coffee cup. It's this big. It holds this much. It's white. It says, tabletop tap room. It's full of coffee. I can describe the cup. It's very tangible. But gaming, we do gaming. It gives us something intangible. It gives us life. It gives us something that it's hard to put your finger on. And I remember looking at Eric. I saw Eric at ShireCon, and I remember the whole time I saw Eric, there was a smile on his face. The guy was happy. Eric is very clearly living his best life, and very happy. Court case going his way. He's got really good lawyers. He's getting his money's worth, and he's going to get paid. The court case is going to get dismissed, and he's going to get all his money back because legislation in New York, right before Governor Cuomo left office, he signed the legislation, anti-SLAPP lawsuit legislation. Eric gets his money back. He'll be able to put a lien on Justin's properties. So, yeah, Eric's living the best life, and he's happy. But Justin, rumors are coming out of Justin's camp. People are saying things. Oh, yeah, Justin's saying this, Justin's saying that. And so we're hearing that, he's hemorrhaging money. He's losing money. It's getting expensive. He can't keep this up. And that's why he files for bankruptcy. And so, yeah, he's not living his best life. But, I have to say that if these court cases are making him miserable, who filed these court cases? Really? Because the narrative right now is that he's being attacked by Yatzi. Well, honestly, Yatzi never knew he existed. Okay? There's no Yatzi never. I'm gonna allege this. Yatzi never knew he existed. Why? Why do I say that? Yatzi was doing $1 billion during COVID. And now, if we take it their face value, if we accept them for what they state, the papers, the financial documents filed by Justin in bankruptcy for TSR was losing money. It was losing money. And so you've got a company doing $1 billion in business. They're not even going to be aware of a company losing money. They're not even going to be aware. It makes no sense logically that a company doing $1 billion during COVID, and you got another company that's losing money during COVID. This company has no idea that company exists. They have no idea he even exists. Okay, it's not like a bug, like there was a little gnat got in the house, and I was crawling across my desk last night, and I went with the finger, and I got him. I didn't think I would get him that way. I just instantly reacted, and I smashed that little gnat with the finger, because normally you want to flatter your hand, because if he jumps and he starts flying, hopefully the hand will come down and you'll get him before he gets out from under your hand. I managed to nail that little bastard with just the fingertip, and I was like, ooh, yeah. Justin didn't even register as a bug crawling across the table, the bench at Yatzi. They wouldn't have even seen him. He's losing money. They don't even see him. He was like a bacteria on this. I'm sure there's bacteria on this table. I can't see him. I would need a microscope, and I'm not going to get a microscope to see them. I'm going to go get a Lysol wipe and wipe the table, and that'll be the end of the damn bacteria, right? Lysol wipe's going to take care of that. Okay. Yatzi had no idea. They wouldn't even see him. They're not going to see a company losing money like TSR. They just wouldn't. They won't be aware of him until he bites them. And like a little gnat, he bit them with the lawsuit, and then they had to pay attention to him. And unfortunately for him, they're a $1 billion company. They don't hire clown shoes lawyers. They hire competent lawyers. They hire high-end corporate lawyers. They hire lawyers that, the bill's going to be at the end, all said and done, it's going to be $1 million. And then they're going to turn around and they're going to stick Justin with the bill. We're going to sue him for their legal fees. It's your fault. We came to this. Your case was dismissed. We want our money back. You caused us to be out this money. We're going to sue you for the $1 million. They're going to go after him for their $1 million legal fees. He's going to have to come up with $1 million. Okay, so he's screwed, and that's why he's demanding things of Eric. Like, we want every communication you've ever had with anybody concerning the Yatzi lawsuit. It has nothing germane to the defamation lawsuit, and that's because the defamation lawsuit is nothing more than a SLAPP lawsuit designed to shut Eric up and prevent him from participating in the public square of ideas and free speech, and to shut him up. And so it's not it's just not going. It's not going well, and he's clearly not living his best life. But you who are watching this, why do you game? It gives you something, doesn't it? Doesn't matter if it's board games, war games, RPGs. It gives us something, and it helps us live our best life. And why did Justin get into gaming? Reportedly, it's because he claimed Yatzi was going to pay him $100 million for each of the trademarks he squatted on. He thought somehow squatting on those trademarks, he could do it. And they would pay him $100 million to get it back. It was a get-rich. It was not for his best life. It was for a get-rich-quick scheme. Screw somebody over. And he's not prospering. This is not how you get your best life. So this is Tom for Tabletop Tap Room. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks to my subscribers. You guys are great. Don't forget that bell icon. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, because we will probably be doing an announcement down the road here when that Lost Modules of Gary Con come out. You're going to want to get the notification for that, and I most likely will be doing a notification. So hit the bell icon. You'll get those notifications, and you'll hear, because limited numbers. I forget what Don told me. It was 200 or it was 300. I forget what the number was, but you want to get in on that before they're gone. Buy them while they're gone. This is not a Kickstarter where it's going to get it produced, and this is limited numbers. From what I understand, very limited numbers. And so they're going to be here and gone, and you want to get in on that. So let's live our best life. Let's drink some coffee. Let's enjoy the fact that now it is public record, apparently, uncontested. Justin Lanassa is a Nazi sympathizer and a criminal, and he chose not to contest those facts. He let it go. So whatever conclusion you can draw from that, I would go with that. It's also public record that Eric Tenkar's opinion of Justin Lanassa is that he is a jackass. And I would say that would track that if you're that dumb to not contest facts that you disagree with about being a Nazi sympathizer and a criminal, I would agree that would make you a jackass. So yes, there we have it. Keep on gaming. Keep on pursuing your best life. Gaming does add something to our lives. It's intangible. We can't codify it, but it does give us life, and we are certainly enjoying it. Good luck, Justin. I don't know. All I can say is just good luck.